What if I told you that the thing you are praying for is not coming someday? It already exists. What if the delay you feel is not denial but alignment? Relax your shoulders. Take a breath. What you want is finished. Now it's simply moving into your world. Most people live their lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for permission, waiting for proof, waiting for someone or something to change before they finally feel safe enough to believe. But today, that pattern ends here, because the truth you are about to hear does not require effort, struggle, or force. It requires recognition. What you desire is not being built. It is not forming. It is not on the way. It is already complete. And the only reason it has not yet appeared is because you have been looking at the world instead of deciding within yourself. Everything you call a dream is not a future event. It is a present reality, seeking permission to enter your experience. Life does not respond to what you beg for. It responds to what you quietly accept as done. The moment you understand this, anxiety loses its grip, doubt loses its power, hustle loses its authority over you, because you realize that you are not chasing outcomes, you are allowing arrivals. You were never meant to create from effort alone. You were meant to create from consciousness. Your inner world is not imagination. It is the blueprint. The outer world is not the source. It is the echo. When you truly grasp this, you stop asking, when will it happen? And you begin asking, who must I be now that it already has? That shift changes everything. The reason so many people feel tired is because they are trying to pull life toward them, instead of letting life flow through them. They are pushing against the current, instead of stepping into alignment. But when something is complete, it does not need your pressure. It needs your permission. And permission comes through acceptance, not force. Think about this deeply. If something already exists, then effort does not bring it closer. Resistance pushes it away. Worry does not speed it up. Trust invites it in. Doubt does not protect you. It delays your recognition. The moment you stop interfering, the moment you stop checking, chasing, and questioning, the door quietly opens. Your desires were never random. You did not choose them. They chose you. They appeared in your awareness because you are the one capable of experiencing them. Desire is not lack. It is direction. It is life showing you what already belongs to you. When you stop treating desire as something missing and start treating it as something inevitable, your entire posture toward life changes. Notice how peace feels different from hope. Hope says, maybe one day. Peace says, it is done. Peace does not shout. It does not rush. It does not argue. Peace rests. And resting is not giving up. It is knowing. When you rest in the feeling of completion, life reorganizes itself around that knowing. This is why forcing outcomes never works. You cannot force what is already finished. You can only block it by acting as if it is unfinished. Every time you say, why hasn't it happened yet? You unknowingly tell life, I don't believe it's real. And life, being obedient, reflects that disbelief back to you. But the opposite is also true. The moment you internally say, of course it's mine, something shifts. Not outside first, but inside. And that inner shift is the only movement that matters. The world does not change because you convince it. It changes because you become unavailable for contradiction. You do not attract what you want. You experience what you are aligned with. Alignment is not pretending. It is not visualizing harder. It is not repeating words with tension. Alignment is calm assumption. It is walking, thinking, choosing, and responding as someone who already knows the ending. When the ending is known, the middle no longer scares you. This is why impatience dissolves once you truly accept completion. You do not rush what you trust. You do not chase what you know is yours. You do not fear loss when ownership is settled internally. The outer delay becomes irrelevant, because the inner certainty is unshakable. Let me tell you something important. Movement does not mean progress. Stillness often does more. When you stop trying to fix, correct, or control, you allow life to do its work. Think of seeds in the soil. They grow not because you dig them up daily, but because you leave them alone. Constant checking is not care. It is doubt in disguise. When you live from completion, your reactions change. You stop over-explaining. You stop settling. You stop reacting emotionally to temporary appearances. You no longer need validation, because fulfillment is already felt, and the world notices this. Opportunities begin to find you. People respond differently. Circumstances soften without effort, not because you tried, but because you stopped resisting. Completion is a frequency, and frequencies do not respond to words. They respond to states. You can say affirmations all day, but if your inner state is desperation, life hears desperation. You can stay silent, but if your inner state is certainty, life hears certainty. Silence with conviction is more powerful than noise with doubt. Understand this clearly. You do not need to deserve what you already are. You do not need to prove yourself to receive what was designed for you. The idea that you must become worthy first is a misunderstanding. Worthiness is not a ladder you climb. It is a truth you accept, and acceptance unlocks flow. This is why letting go feels so powerful. Letting go is not forgetting the desire, it is releasing the struggle around it. It is saying, I trust the process because I trust the outcome. When you do this, you step out of time pressure. And when time pressure disappears, manifestation accelerates. Notice how the most beautiful moments in life often come unexpectedly. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. When you stop looking for proof, proof appears. When you stop needing signs, signs surround you. When you stop asking, is it working? Life responds with, of course it is. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not blocked. You are simply being invited to stop interfering. The door is not locked. You have been pushing when all you needed to do was turn the handle. And the handle turns the moment you accept that what you want is not approaching. It is entering. From this moment forward, carry yourself differently. Speak with ease. Decide with confidence. Rest without guilt. Trust without tension. Live as someone who already knows the ending is favorable. Because when the ending is certain, the journey becomes light. Stop rehearsing failure. Stop preparing for disappointment. Stop keeping emotional backup plans. These habits keep you anchored to unfinished stories. Choose completion instead. Choose inner agreement. Choose the quiet confidence that says, this is already mine. And here is the final truth. You must remember, life does not test your patience, it reflects your belief. The moment belief settles, reflection follows. Not because life suddenly changes its rules, but because you finally align with them. So relax, breathe, release the effort. It is already complete. Now it is simply entering your world. What you long for is not something being assembled somewhere in the distance. It already exists in a finished state. The moment a desire appears in your awareness, it is proof that its fulfillment is real on another level of experience. Life does not tease you with empty possibilities. It reveals realities that are ready to be claimed. The mistake most people make is assuming desire means absence, when in truth it means availability. The desire shows up because the destination already exists. Your role is not to build it, but to recognize it. Recognition is an inner agreement that says, this belongs to me. Once that agreement settles, the struggle naturally falls away. You stop feeling like you are chasing something and begin feeling like something is aligning with you. This inner recognition is what allows the invisible to become visible. The moment you stop treating your desire as a distant dream and start seeing it as a present fact, the world begins rearranging itself to match that understanding. Waiting is not a matter of time. It is a matter of decision. People wait because internally they have not decided that the outcome is done. The instant you decide, waiting dissolves. Decision is powerful because it closes the door to alternatives. When you truly decide that something is complete, your mind stops searching for confirmation. You no longer scan the environment for signs, because certainty has replaced hope. This does not mean nothing happens afterward. It means what happens afterward no longer controls your emotional state. You move through life with calm expectation instead of anxious anticipation. Waiting belongs to uncertainty, not to knowing. Once you decide internally that the story is finished, the middle part of the journey becomes neutral. It does not disturb you or excite you excessively. You simply move forward with trust. The outer world then catches up to the inner decision, because reality always follows clarity. The world around you is not responding to how hard you try. It is responding to what you are convinced of. Effort without belief produces exhaustion, while belief without effort produces alignment. This is why some people achieve effortlessly, while others struggle endlessly. It is not about talent or luck, but about inner agreement. When your inner world is settled, the outer world mirrors that stability. If you are uncertain inside, life reflects instability outside. When you stop trying to force results and instead focus on inner certainty, everything changes. Your actions become inspired rather than desperate. Your words become calm rather than reactive. The world does not need convincing. It needs clarity. Once clarity is established within, circumstances reorganize naturally. The outer world has no choice but to follow the dominant inner state you occupy consistently. Desire is often misunderstood as evidence that something is missing, but in reality it is evidence that something is available. Desire points you toward an experience that already exists for you. It is life's way of guiding you, not mocking you. If something were impossible for you, it would never appear in your awareness. Desire is a signal, not a wound. When you understand this, you stop judging yourself for wanting more. You stop suppressing or doubting your inner urges. Instead, you honor them as guidance. Desire carries intelligence. It shows you what aligns with your deeper self. When you accept desire without resistance, it transforms from longing into expectation. That expectation quietly shifts your behavior, your choices, and your perception. You begin to move in harmony with what you want, instead of feeling separated from it. This harmony shortens the distance between imagination and experience. Trying to force an outcome often feels productive, but it actually creates resistance. Force implies that something is missing or delayed. Acceptance implies that something is settled. Life responds faster to acceptance than to effort. When you force, you tense your mind and body, sending a signal of urgency and lack. When you accept, you relax, sending a signal of trust and completion. This relaxed state is not passive. It is receptive. Receptivity allows things to flow in without obstruction. Think of how quickly things fall into place when you stop pushing. Acceptance does not mean doing nothing. It means doing without strain. Actions taken from acceptance feel natural, timely, and effective. Actions taken from force feel heavy and draining. When you shift from force to acceptance, life accelerates not because you are trying harder, but because you are no longer slowing things down with resistance. True alignment is not about repeating words or performing rituals. It is about living as if the ending is already known. When the ending is known, fear loses its authority. You stop reacting emotionally to temporary setbacks because you see them as part of a finished story. Living from the end means your identity changes before your circumstances do. You think differently, choose differently, and respond differently. You are no longer seeking approval or reassurance. You move with quiet confidence. This state cannot be faked because it is felt internally. When you are aligned, you do not need signs to prove anything to you. You already know that knowing influences how others treat you and how opportunities appear. Alignment simplifies life. It removes unnecessary effort and replaces it with clarity. When you live from completion, the path ahead unfolds naturally. Stillness is often underestimated, yet it is one of the most powerful states you can occupy. In stillness, you are not interfering with the natural process of life. Constant mental activity, worry, and overthinking disrupt the flow. Stillness allows things to settle into place. Trust grows in stillness because you are no longer trying to control every detail. When you trust, you give life room to operate. This does not mean you stop living or acting. It means you stop micromanaging outcomes. In stillness, intuition becomes clearer. You notice opportunities without chasing them. You respond instead of reacting. The world begins to feel cooperative rather than hostile. Trust is not blind faith. It is confidence in the unseen order of things. When you embody trust, life meets you halfway, often delivering results in ways you could never have planned. Doubt is not harmless. It is an active interference. Each time you doubt, You send mixed signals about what you believe to be real. Quiet knowing, on the other hand, is unwavering. It does not argue or seek validation. Knowing is calm and grounded. When you know something internally, you stop defending it. You stop explaining it to others. You allow reality to speak for itself. This quiet confidence is powerful because it removes inner conflict. Life responds quickly to consistency. When your thoughts, emotions, and expectations align, manifestation becomes effortless. Doubt breaks alignment by introducing contradiction. Knowing restores alignment by creating coherence. The less you argue with yourself, the smoother life becomes. Quiet knowing is not dramatic. It is steady. And that steadiness is what opens doors effortlessly. When you stop reacting to appearances that contradict your inner certainty, you reclaim your power. Emotional reactions tie you to temporary conditions. Non-reaction frees you. Being emotionally unavailable to contradiction does not mean suppressing feelings. It means not allowing circumstances to define your belief. You acknowledge what you see without surrendering to it. This inner stance creates stability. When you no longer panic at delays or setbacks, life loses leverage over you. Stability is magnetic. People and situations respond differently to someone who is grounded. They sense confidence and certainty. By refusing to be emotionally pulled into unfinished versions of reality, you stay aligned with the completed version. This alignment influences outcomes more than effort ever could. Calm persistence outperforms frantic action. When you stand firm internally, the world adjusts externally. Once you assume completion internally, reality has no alternative but to reflect it. Life operates on reflection, not persuasion. You do not need to convince the world. You need to agree with yourself. Assumption is powerful because it bypasses logic and goes straight to identity. When you assume something is done, you naturally behave as someone for whom it is normal. Normality is key. The world responds to what you consider normal. When success, love, or abundance feels normal to you internally, it appears externally with ease. Struggle comes from treating good outcomes as rare or difficult. Completion dissolves that mindset. You move with ease, expecting favorable outcomes. Over time, these expectations harden into facts. Reality follows the path of least resistance, and inner certainty creates that path. When completion is assumed, fulfillment is inevitable.